But the part about it was I'll play this next video and we'll go from there. All right? All right, here we go.
Foundation will, over the next 4 years, spend $7 billion, the equivalent of 700 billion Kenya shillings, to aid African countries come up with innovative solutions to confront various challenges, including hunger, disease, gender equality, and poverty. Bill Gates, who held a town hall session with University of Nairobi students, said the foundation was committed to funding research in agriculture, health, and innovation to help the continent unlock the human potential it holds. He also waded into the GMO debate, saying that genetically engineered foods will aid in replenishing the food basket, given that GMO seeds were fast maturing, resistant to pests, and could survive unpredictable weather patterns.
GMO, the West is totally GMO, because that's the most productive. That's what has the disease resistance. Organic food is a small part of the market that's very expensive. But, you know, every piece of bread I've ever eaten is high productivity wheat, GMO wheat. Every piece of corn I've ever eaten is GMO corn. So these are things that billions of years of using these products have been done. You know, so, you know, anyway, these are proven products. Nobody's trying to take something that hundreds of millions of people haven't already been eating with a perfect safety record.
So, all right.
Sister said, why is he still alive?
So, excuse me. And it wasn't that particular one, but it was something that presented itself, that there was the meeting that had took place and he's kicking out all this cash. I'm like, okay.
We're talking about in the billions.
Like billions.
Over a period of years, he's kicking out money that countries can't even kick out to other countries in need. Like, why is he pushing this so much? Right. You don't even hear it being pushed so hard in the States anymore. It's in the stores. You can barely find real organic foods, but you also have every town has a cancer treatment center popping up, and we're trying to figure out why. Why? So here we are in Africa, where the soil in this whole entire continent is so fertile that it produces natural minerals for the whole world to survive off of. Now here comes the great white hope to say, oh, y'all not doing it right. Even though y'all been producing, agriculture has been the major for all the countries here, has been one of the most significant. This is their livelihood. But you come now and say, you're not doing it right. You're producing too slow. If you do it our way and use these genetically modified seeds, which is chemically based, right? Which means it changes the soil of the most heavily rich soil in the world. Now we're going to do these seeds that changes the soil, changes the content, it changes the everything about it in order to support this GMO seeds. You have to add chemicals to the soil.
Well, so genetically modified organisms, I'm preaching to the choir. You all already know this. Genetically modified organisms. It's a gene editing is what it is. The promoting of the GMO program, I'll put it that way, and it's focused here in Africa, right? It's a deliberate focus here in Africa on this particular continent, right? Believe it or not, many people are not aware. Obviously, important people are not aware.
Yep.
And we've lived among these folks for centuries. So, you know, we've experienced these things. We've experienced things like the Tuskegee experiment. We've experienced eugenics under the name of Planned Parenthood by Margaret Sanger. All of these, you know, these so-called
Legal experimentation.
experimentations, all for the purpose of depopulating. So this is nothing new. This is nothing new, but the wording though. It's the wording, and it's the what am I saying? It's
The politically correct, nice, nasty, the gentle way of explaining why this has to happen. So while he's finding the video, I want you guys to think about what you see in the supermarkets, as he said it in that last video, even though he was lying and saying, oh, I've been eating GMO bread my whole life and GMO food. No, it's not. Because see, rich people eat organic foods with no problem. Like you said, organic food is expensive. It really isn't until you brought in GMO foods. And so now you can buy fake watermelon for about $6 in the States, because the seeded one, if you find it, will cost you 10. So what is a poor person going to choose? They're going to choose the fake food, just trying to get some vitamins, even though it lacks in flavor, it lacks in vitamins, it lacks in coloring. And most GMO foods taste like water, truthfully. It does not have what real God-given food has. And so you're coming into a country, a continent of fertile land, putting chemically based seeds in the land. And someone just said I couldn't highlight it, but I was going to bring that point up too. Once they put these seeds in the land, it destroys the land. You can only, after that, put more of their seeds in the land. And what's happening is the farmers in Ghana, in Uganda, soon in Kenya, are not able to afford these seeds. They are going in debt, trying to replenish when they got these little seeds the first time, or the free seeds the first time. Now the second harvest you have to buy, and you have to buy the chemicals that go along with it. You done destroyed your land. You cannot go back to planting regular food because the land now has chemicals in it. You are stuck buying fake seeds underneath of these people. They're the only ones that can sell it. It's patent. So you can't get it from the black market, some regular seeds that can counteract the poison you don't put in your land already. They're over here destroying the land in Africa. But y'all don't see it that way. Y'all see it as, oh, he's trying to feed multitudes of people, like he's Jesus, and he's trying to feed the people, multiple people faster, easier. One video, he says, we're going to bring the rain.
Well, that was, so you have what not Bill Gates himself. You have in Rwanda, and we were able to see this large, humongous piece of land. It's beautiful too. There's an agricultural university, and that agricultural university has been set up and established by Buffett, not Warren Buffett, but I don't know if it's his cousin or cousin or something. And he himself who's not a farmer. He has nothing of agriculture of any kind, but he goes and he presents himself. I'm trying to find the video. He presents himself as if they can provide the necessary rain.
You don't need no necessary rain in Rwanda. Rwanda will give you the rain.
So and it's just smoke. It's a lot of smoke. At any rate, money talks, right? So let's look at it, man. What is a GMO? What is it? What is it really? How is it defined? Here we go.
GMO, or genetically modified organisms, can refer to a lot of things. But in the case of food, it refers to crops that have had their genes specifically altered to express a certain trait. In very simple terms, this means taking a certain gene from one organism, like repelling insects, and transferring that trait into a plant's DNA sequence so that the plant expresses an insect-repelling trait as it grows. While genetic modification of crops has existed since the birth of agriculture, this new form of genetic engineering is a bit different. In the past, if a farmer wanted to create a sweeter apple, for example, they would need to breed 2 apple trees with sweet traits and hope the next generation might produce even sweeter fruits. This process requires luck and years of persistence. Gene editing, on the other hand, is much more precise. It uses specific genes from one organism to modify the genetic code of another. you know exactly what trait will be expressed.
All right, so clear, straightforward. That's, and again, preaching to the choir. Sure, many of you already are aware of it and know it. Now, as stated, it's not really of much harm in and of itself, right? Gene editing, um, a form of that had been utilized in times past. People who are in agriculture and who are scientific about, these things, they know how to do these things without the external aid and assistance of some technology. That's the only difference. The GMO is a technology. That's what it is. So they're trying to bring a technology with agriculture, and we all know it's all about capital gain. Bottom line, it's about capital gain, but for a select few. And it ties into the purposing as to why there's an alarm for the growth of the population. So let me show you a picture of an individual, right? And there's a reason why I want to show you this picture, right? So this is Thomas Malthus. And Thomas Malthus, 1790 or so, right?
You look like a chicken. You got a beak and everything.
The concept and the efforts of what is considered to be depopulation originated with this fella here. And he wrote a book called Essay on the Principle of Population. So his concern was, and it's a reason why we have to connect the dots and trace it back, because the same concern, the same language that was used in 1790 or something, the 18th century, is the same dialogue and the same language that is being used in the 21st century of 2023 going into 2024, right? The concern was that the population growth and the rate was growing at such a rate that they were thinking they would not be able to produce enough food to satisfy the growth rate of the population, right? But here's the part. The blame was on the impoverished. The blame was on those who were poor, right? As it is today, when you listen to Bill Gates and you listen to him, he's always talking about it will help the poverty, the extreme poverty, and it will cut back the need for many different things. But the poverty was definitely the point that was being made then and is being made now, right? So Thomas Malthus, fast forward, this is just to show this has been a plan from the beginning. It's nothing new. And the leopard doesn't change its spots. You have a gentleman named Paul Ehrlich, right? Paul Ehrlich in the 1960s, same thing. Shared pretty much the same ideology. He's a self-proclaimed environmentalist. He wrote a book called The Population Bomb, right? And the book details, it's like a manifesto almost, right? It details these things, but in it, it says there's one particular point here. The population control is the conscious regulation of the numbers of human beings to meet the needs, right? Not just of individual families, but of a society as a whole, okay? So that's the premise that they were building off of. They're building off of, okay, we got to control this thing because ain't gonna be no food for nobody. Nobody's gonna have no food, right? Last in this line, before we get back to Bill Gates, here you have Garrett Hardin. Now, Garrett Hardin was more of a race purity guy, race purity and private property. He made no qualms about the fact that you know what? The rich, we got to protect the rich, right? Whites, we got to keep it pure. In other words, what he was saying is that our mortality rate can't compete with the fertility rate of the darker people. So look, we gotta do something about this. We gotta make sure that we keep our money and our folk, our people straight. So 2 books, Tragedy of the Commons and The Lifeboat, something or another. All with plans and strategies, right, on how they can manifest and make this thing happen. This is important because the same language that was used then is the very same language that's being used right now, and this is the face of it. This is the face of it, right?
This face is a nightmare.
So we have to pay attention. We have to listen because it's always that fine print, right? It's always there, always there. So connecting the dots, right? This can be traced back, right? Time would permit, even to the company that's being represented that will provide all of these GMO technology. And it's a combo, right? Genetic gene editing, but then there's something, okay, sign your life over to me, right? I give you these seeds. I give you these seeds, and with these seeds are designed to be drought resistant, right? Repellent, no weevils or nothing like that will destroy it or anything. So if there's a flood, we just had a flood, right? If there's a flood lasts for days, weeks, months. The claim is you good, it's okay. These seeds, they're not going to be negatively affected. Same with any insects or anything like that that's trying to destroy the soil or the crops that you are planting and looking to harvest. That's the claim.
That's the claim.
But here's the catch, though. The catch is, give me your soul. Because when I give you these seeds, right, because the promise is, oh, you will be able to yield greater increase, more money, right? But how does that happen when you're telling me as a farmer that I'm going to give you these seeds, but after I give you these seeds, you have to understand it's patent. That's my intellectual property. You cannot reuse it. You cannot sell it. You can't even share it. And in the initial stages, if the seed happened to blow over to another land of a farmland, they can get you for that.
So in South Africa, one of the first places they started at, of course, we know why. But Bill Gates had started an organization called AGRA, AGRA, Alliance for Green Revolution. And they started with the GMO seeds over there. They promised the farmers all kinds of everything. You're going to yield a lot more, a lot faster. You're going to be able to get more out, and you can sell more, and you're going to be rich. You're going to be rich. And this is from the Times, or I took a picture of it. In the States, they were talking about how this never happened. It has never been successful. Everything that they were saying to these farmers were a lie. They didn't say it was a lie. They were saying it never happened. It never came to pass. So, but what did happen was they started losing their land. These farmers were now going in debt when all the other times they were always yielding a profit. They're farming like they always did. They know how to work their farms. Right. But in Uganda, we have a video of Bill Gates and them coming to the land in Uganda, which you guys know, Uganda feeds a lot of other countries from what they produce. You'll find even here in Kenya, you'll find it in Rwanda, the banana says Ugandan bananas. A lot of the papaya, everything, a lot of fruits that are native to the country will be destroyed because the GMO seeds are only for particular food items. Right. So the foods that you normally get, that the country normally uses as their daily diet, won't exist once all of this take over over their country. But in Uganda, he's telling the farmers, you guys, you're not really producing enough. What? And the soil's not rich enough. And hopefully, if you guys do what we're telling you to do, and you let us give you the seeds and show you how to make this land more productive, you guys will come up financially. You'll be able to feed the country. You'll be able to supply the world a lot faster. And we're all sitting down, and even the reporter that is saying this is a white guy. He said, you will feel the sense of colonialism all over again. Because now the man that controls the land controls the plan, period. And we're giving it up to him because you're promising us some free seeds that's supposed to make us rich overnight. And instead, you're seeing pharmacies. If you come to East Africa, the way you see liquor stores in the States, that's how you see pharmacies over here. There's a pharmacy every block. And I'm talking about Rwanda, Tanzania, and Kenya. Pharmacies, you don't have to walk too far to go to a pharmacy anywhere.
Man, you can, in Rwanda, they like
Yeah,
right next door to each
right
other.
next door. And the crazy thing is the pharmacies in Rwanda is regulated. You're not going to go and get ibuprofen for $10 here and $8 there.
All the same.
All regulated.
Everything.
That's anyway, we'll talk about that later, but that's different.
That's
But-
another thing.
So it's not that pharmacies are making, this pharmacy is making more money than that pharmacy. No, but there's definitely a need, because when my mom or the moms needed this medicine here, it was not at that pharmacy, but the other one still has some stock. So they'll call over and we'll go over to the other one to get it. But there's hundreds of them. Now, you might not find bathrooms, but you'll definitely find some pharmacies. Like, for real. Why? All of a sudden, there's a need for massive pharmacies.